I need to make some foundry tongs. I've got a project coming up where I need to cast some metal pieces, and what I don't have is a way to move the metal from the foundry to where I'm going to actually pour it. I've never made any tongs before, so what we have here is an educational opportunity. So these are probably not the easiest tongs to be the first tongs to start with, but I think I've got a plan for it. I'm starting about 4 inches back into this bar and isolating off the piece that's going to be the jaws of the tongs. In this case, they're going to curl around into two separate pieces. I'll be splitting it later. And I'll take about 1.5 inches of that bar and draw it out into about twice that. It'll be about 3 inches long once it gets drawn down to about 3/8 of an inch square. Then I'm going to move back another inch or 1.5 inches on the bar, I think about 1 inch, and I'm going to flip it over and isolate a piece off on the other side. And to do this, that's why I've got the full flat dies on the top and the regular combination dies on the bottom, because otherwise it just squishes the same from both sides. It doesn't just squish one side of the bar. And once you got that, then you can pretty much start drawing out the reins, and that'll just be using the combination dies. Now I've got top and bottom both are the same combination dies. The part you can see out here is the fullering part of the die, and the back and deeper in the machine there is the flat part of the dies. And this is done at double speed on a 16-ton coal iron press, or coal iron works press. It's not quite this fast. If it was, I don't think I could control it. I have enough trouble already keeping up with not stepping the wrong direction with it. I'll get better as I do more with it. Some people will control, there's a hand lever on it, and they'll control the hand lever, just like using a hammer. But I'm used to sewing machines, so I use the foot pedal. Now here I'm cooling off the end of the bar so that I can put it in the vise and take a twisting wrench and twist that end 90 degrees to the direction that it is right now. And when you do both sides of the tongs, you need to make sure you turn both of them the same direction. Then we're going to go back to the anvil, and we're going to take that twist and try and square it back up and straighten everything out. I'm just using real light hits with the hammer to do that. After that, we're going to take it and punch the hole in it. I'm just using it's a drift punch that I bought at a regular hardware store. As near as I can tell, it's the same drift punch that blacksmiths were using too, so it seems to work just fine for the job. Punch it from one side, till you can see the mark on the other side where it's gets kind of a shinier spot that's a little darker in color. And when you turn it over, and then put the punch in the same place, drive it through, and you'll knock out a little plug of metal, which is actually sitting there on the corner of the anvil. Now this is the other piece that I made, the other side of the tongs, and I'm comparing the two together to see if they are at least somewhat similar. And then I take it over to back into the vise and cut it with an angle grinder. I cut about 3 inches into that flat part that I left for the jaws. You could probably chisel cut this or something similar, but it's quick just to go over to the vise and use an angle grinder. And then there's a lot of shaping and fiddling and trying to round out those pieces. Get them curved and get everything twisted and turned the way that it needs to be and laying straight and smooth and flat. Or at least straight and smooth and flat enough, because these are just for my own use. So ugly and functional works. Kind of approximately what half a tong looks like. And then for the final shaping, I'm going to find something that's about right to put the tongs on. I've already done a little bit of it before I film this. But it's just going to be taking, and I'm going to do it cold because this is mild steel. I don't need to worry too much about it cracking or breaking when I hit it while it's cold. And I'm just going to keep tapping away at it until it pretty much holds that pipe well, and then it should hold the crucible really well. And this is the crucible in question. And look at that, it works. Ready to cast.